Cubism, one of my favourite cool kind of art styles from 100 years ago. I love how it was made famous by Picasso, using flattened shapes, lack of perspective, multiple views simultaneously, all these crazy things that actually broke the rules of art. But what would happen if we got the old-fashioned Cubism style, which is made famous using still life and portraits and stuff, but applied it to fun modified cars and stuff? This cool Peugeot from a Max Power magazine. So what happens if we transform these cool cars with a 100-year-old art style? That's what I'm going to try and do here. And to give a visual perspective, here's a cool BMW that I painted. And this is a Corsa B that I did, Cubism style. So this is my little side quest. See what happens with the results. Why? Because no one's ever done it before and I think it'll be really awesome. So let's start off with today's one. Okay, so to begin this cool Cubism painting, I've just got some cool watercolour paper here, 300 GCM, good weight. And I've just masked off a little bit of an edge just to give it a cool straight line. And for some inspiration, I'm getting this Max Power magazine, December 2000, and I want to do this cool Sea to Ibiza. So what's great about these magazines is a large variety of angles, which I'll use for my inspiration towards my Cubism painting. What I'm going to do is just go through all the different cool angles of this vehicle and apply them in. So I think this would be a good first one to add in. So I've got a Sharpie pen here, so I'm just going to get these first lines in for the shapes. So the Sharpie pen didn't work too well, but it's just enough to get some lines in. So I'm just doing the front here. I'm not being too neat, I just want the rough shapes. Then let's find some more angles to do. So let's maybe do this front one. And this is completely randomized on where I'm actually applying everything. I just want to get like the overall perspective of the whole vehicle in lots of different angles. And so the vent there. I might just do the edge there. Okay, maybe a little bit of the interior here. Have this as maybe one of the speakers. Maybe a circle for the oil field cap. I like that front end, so I might do another front end here. It's a cool exhaust it has, so let's add that exhaust shape in. There's no pre-sketches, so I'm just kind of winging this. That's a cool shape of the side mirror. So let's do the side mirror up here. Fence. Hood. This could be like the rocker cover. Intake pipe. Do for just the rough sketch outline first. Acrylic paint ready on the side. This is just basic acrylic paint. And I've got a few colours here. I've got obviously the yellow, a little bit of white, a little bit of grey, black and brown. I don't want to make this too saturated, so I've added a little bit of grey there, just to kind of dull the yellow down a little bit. See what this looks like. Yeah, that'll work. Add the white up there. I don't want any generalized depth in this painting, so to contrast that, a little bit of dark here, then to yellow, And sometimes I feel it helps to turn the painting around. Quite a dark shape here. These lines I'll probably go back over again. Quite thin, but these black lines I want them to be a bit more prominent. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to break this into shapes, going from lighter to darker. So I never actually tried doing this in acrylic paint. I did mainly oil pastels. So I'll just try something different, because why not? I'm a self-taught artist and I just do everything the way I want to do it. I've got no strict rules about how to actually do things. So this is just to get merely like a base layer done, and then I can then start adding multiple layers on top. The cubism is more realistic than typical paintings, although at first glance that seems highly improbable, but the fact is that you're using multiple views at the same time to create an overall effect. Whereas if you have a still picture, it only captures one area at a time. This has the effect of all areas altogether. So in this painting I've got bits of the engine, bit of the inside, front. So I'm just going to build up some more layers in time lapse and we'll come back and reflect on it. But yeah, that's the general process. I'm just adding various different yellows. I don't want to be too saturated because the previous cubism pioneers, Picasso and George Braque and stuff like that, they said that colour can have depth as well, and I don't want to add too much depth to the painting. However, I feel that the depth is more apparent when you have contrasting colours. So if I did like a sharp blue in this, contrast really well with the yellow and make the yellow stand out a lot more. However, I keep it kind of monochrome, just yellows and blacks. I can kind of get rid of that depth effect. Maybe darker here, going to lighter. So it's quite light at the top of here, so I want this edge to be darker. I'm not using any water for this, I'm literally just mixing the paint on the actual paper itself. I think afterwards I'll probably use a Posca marker, which is quite opaque, to really get some of those yellow highlights in there. And remember certain areas that I've done. So this was the side vents of the car, this is the front, this is the grill underneath, the front oil cover, exhaust, speaker, engine cover. So I'm trying to remember certain areas, but it has some nice grounded earth tones. Cool. So yeah, let's go into time lapse and see what this looks like. This is what I have so far. I did a lot of this off screen just because I don't have the luxury of always being in my studio where I've got the camera set up and stuff like that. I've got a very, very busy lifestyle, so I did this sometimes in the house when I was just looking after my kid and that, just on the side. I've done so far, as you can see, I've just actually built the layers of yellow, white, white and blacks and stuff like that to create these cool little shapes. So I've got a nice white highlight here, going to yellow and going to dark on the edges. This was the engine cover. I've got some nice shapes going down here. I did use like a white gel pen, as you can see a few lines here, but the problem is it's not really, it didn't harmonize well with everything, so I just like to use it as a guideline for highlights. This is like sort of the speaker shape here. Brush kind of dry to give the kind of dry brush effect. It's not really planned out. Cubism is about a lot of fussing and trying ideas, try this, maybe a bit here, a bit there and stuff like that. So I might add a bit more white on this edge. A bit more yellow. I'm playing with saturation as well, so that this area to be more saturated than this. And this is not very saturated at the top, so I'll probably add some more colour up there. So it's quite saturated here, not saturated there, so maybe add a bit of saturation here. And then just dry brush it into this edge there, as you can see. And for this top bit, might add a little bit of white. Okay. Maybe a tad of white up here. Pictures of browns as well. I could add some blue in there for the windscreen, maybe some reflections for, but I don't want to like overcomplicate it. I'm just happy with it is. Maybe a bit here. Just fussing in certain areas. I'm getting a bit lost in a few places where I'm not quite sure where things are. This was the back of the actual car here. The side mirror, the exhaust. This is the front. This is the front as well. This is the A-pillar of the car, the windscreen. This is the front engine cover, the pipe. This is the speaker. This here was one of the switches on the side that I saw. So I just got my, don't put too much paint on the brush, just like a little bit, because I want to try and add a dry brush effect. Okay, so it's not saturated, so let's have this bit saturated. So I think I might do this another one in acrylics. I was kind of wondering how it was turning out. Maybe I'll go back to oil pastels, because I like doing the oil pastel ones as well. The acrylic ones are quite nice. And then go back to it, trying to see certain things you didn't notice beforehand. Okay, so I think I'll leave it there for now. I'm quite happy how that turned out. Trying to think if there's anything else to add to it. Okay, yeah, I think I'll leave it there. I'll come back to it when it's dry, and I might take this masking tape off as well. So that's the end of my Seat Ibiza experiment. I think it looks really, really cool. I like the geometric shapes that I've got in there. I've got lots of different various views. If you look closely and identify it, you can see like the engine rocker cover. I've got the front view, speakers, vents, different switches, a little bit to the inside, outside. So lots of different perspectives of the actual vehicle covered within it. I don't think, maybe I should have added maybe a bit of blue for the lights, maybe a little bit of blue in the windscreen to identify those a bit more. I was a bit scared to actually do it. Maybe I'll do it next time and just go for it and see what happens. Maybe a bit more colour to it. Maybe it's too monochrome. Maybe, I'm not sure. But overall, I think I'll give this one probably a 7 out of 10. This is a really good experiment. I think probably the next experiment I'll do is maybe a Golf or something like that. And we'll see what happens with that one. But yeah, this has been a really fun one. And yeah, hope you enjoyed the result.